The year turned into 1973, and Kojak turned into America's favorite cop display, but one episode changed the entirety. When test audiences noticed the controversial scene about police brutality, they have been greatly surprised into silence. CBS panicked, the community censored it, and the footage vanished. Until now, here's the explosive reality, approximately the Kojak second that changed into too real for TV. The story of Kojak started out in 1963 when New York City became shaken through a brutal crime. Two young women, Janice Wiley and Emily Hoffert, were located lifeless of their Manhattan apartment. The case terrified the town. However, what made it even worse changed into what happened next. A younger black man named George Whitmore Jr. turned into arrested for the crime. He had not anything to do with it, however. The police forced a confession out of him. His wrongful conviction had become one of the maximum essential prison cases in American records. Whitmore became arrested on April 24, 1964. Detectives showed him a photograph, claiming it become Janice Wiley. In fact, the photograph became of Arlene Franco, a lady Whitmore knew from excessive school. She had misplaced the image in a park. However, the police used it as a trick. They interrogated Whitmore for hours, refusing to permit him to depart. Under pressure, he confessed, now not handiest, to the Wiley-Hoffert murders, however, additionally to two unrelated crimes. His confession turned into a lie. Whitmore changed into nowhere near the crime scene while the murders came about. On that day, he became in Wildwood, New Jersey, looking Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech on TV. Several human beings showed his alibi, yet the police left out it. He spent greater than 3 years in jail earlier than he became launched on bond in 1966. His case played a first-rate position within the Supreme Court's Miranda Verizona decision, which compelled police to read suspects' rights earlier than interrogations. The real killer was a person named Richard Robles. He became a heroin addict who had damaged into the rental seeking out cash. He panicked and attacked them. Robles changed into arrested in 1965 and sentenced to existence in jail. For years, he denied committing the crime. He ultimately admitted the reality at a parole listening to in 1986. Whitmore's wrongful conviction exposed deep flaws within the justice machine. His case showed how, without problems, an innocent individual could be trapped by terrible police work. It additionally proved how risky forced confessions will be. Without strong felony protections, everybody could locate themselves in Whitmore's position, accused, convicted, and locked away for something they didn't do. This case had an enduring effect on Abby Mann, the man who created Kojak. He changed into already inquisitive about Tales Approximately Justice. However, studying Selwyn Robb's Justice Inside the Back Room modified everything. The ebook designated instances of police corruption and racial bias, exposing how the system regularly worked towards the human beings it was presupposed to defend. Mann couldn't forget about what he had discovered. He wanted to do something positive about it. Moreover, Mann had a records of using storytelling to highlight real-world troubles. He had gained an Oscar for Judgment at Nuremberg, a film about Nazi conflict crimes. But he wasn't simply worried with records. He knew injustice turned into taking place in America too. He wanted to create a display that failed to just entertain, however additionally made humans suppose. That's how Kojak became born. Unlike Maximum TV detectives, Theo Kojak wasn't perfect. He was difficult, but he wasn't cruel. He accompanied the regulations, however. He additionally knew the device had flaws. He represented the sort of cop man believed must exist, person who sought actual justice in preference to smooth arrests. Kojak took on subjects that Maximum Crime indicates omitted. Episodes treated racism, police brutality, and corruption, bringing these issues into American living rooms in a way few shows had earlier then. The journey to Kojak commenced with a TV film known as The Marcus Nelson Murders. It aired in 1973 and was based totally on an actual case. The film changed into a massive success, and CBS fast realized that they had something unique. They wanted to turn it into a chain. However, they had one request. They wanted Kojak to be a Greek Columbo. When it came to casting, CBS wanted Kojak to have a conventional main guy. They pictured a person easy cut and good looking, a standard TV hero. But Abby Mann, the show's writer, had a one-of-a-kind idea. He noticed something in Telly Savalas that no person else did. Savalas did not seem like a Hollywood famous person. He had a bald head, a difficult face, and a presence that became not possible to ignore. Mann believed that presence was exactly what the show needed. The community wasn't convinced at first, but Mann refused to back down. Savalas was already a respected actor, with the aid of the early 1970s. His role in Birdman of Alcatraz had earned him an Oscar nomination. He had additionally played memorable elements in The Dirty Dozen and Kelly's Heroes. But Kojak could make him a legend. The person was stimulated by way of real detectives who labored on the Wiley Hofford murder case, a case that caused primary modifications in police strategies. When CBS produced The Marcus Nelson Murders, a TV movie that brought Kojak to audiences, Savalas became solid in the lead position. His overall performance left absolute confidence. He became ideal for the component. The film became the launch pad for the series, and CBS gave the inexperienced Mile. Once the show started, Savalas made the individual his very own. The sharp fits, the hard mindset, the lollipop-in area of a cigarette, each element made Kojak unforgettable. His signature catchphrase, "Who loves you, baby?" became a part of pop culture. The show's success became no wonder. Savalas won an Emmy and 2 Golden Globes. More importantly, he redefined the TV detective. Kojak wasn't simply some other crime fighter in a trench coat. He became ambitious, avenue smart, and had appeal that made him not possible to dislike. But Savalas wasn't the most effective one who left a mark at the show. His actual existence brother, George Savalas, played Detective Stavros. The two had an simple chemistry on display screen. George had been acting for years, appearing in indicates like The Virginian and The Man from U.N.C.L.E. However, Kojak gave him his maximum famous function. Stavros became scruffy and quiet, a detective who regularly delivered a piece of humor to the show. At first, George did not use his actual name inside the credit, Demosthenes Savalas, his center name, so humans wouldn't assume he got the activity just due to his brother. But as time went on, lovers embraced him and his actual call became used. The bond among the Savalas brothers made their scenes sense actual. It wasn't simply precise acting, it changed into natural. George had a history in theater with roles in performs like Death of a Salesman, and he delivered that revel into the display. His passing in 1985 became a big loss, but his paintings on Kojak remains a major part of the show's legacy. Kevin Dobson, the actor behind Detective Bobby Crocker, had his personal battle to get at the show. More than 200 actors auditioned for the position. Dobson became rejected twice. He should have walked away, however he refused to surrender. After his second rejection, he advised his agent to get him one extra chance. This time, he took a chance. During his audition, he playfully mocked Savalas' lollipop addiction. It became an ambitious pass, but it worked. The casting team loved it. He were given the component. Dobson's historical past gave him an E side. Before performing, he had worked for the Long Island Railroad as a brakeman and conductor. He had additionally served as a Navy policeman in the Army. That experience helped him deliver a stage of realism to his function. His person became Kojak's relied-on proper handman. On display, Savalas regularly referred to as him, Pussycat, in that unmistakable Kojak voice. Their dynamic turned into one of the display's strongest elements. Dobson stayed for all 5 seasons, and later again for the Kojak TV movies. Then there has been Dan Fraser, the man who played Captain Frank McNeil. He became more than simply an actor. He had served in World War II, operating inside the Special Services Division. That revel in shaped his technique to overall performance. It gave him a sharpness that made McNeil experience like a real pro cop. McNeil had once been Kojak's accomplice, however now he turned into the boss. He'd become one of the few characters to appear in every episode of the show. Off-screen, Fraser had a surprising talent. He'd become an avid chess player and often performed towards Savalas between takes. Their matches weren't just a manner to pass the time. They had been a sign of the kind of thoughts Fraser had. He delivered that identical intelligence to his performing. Kojak wasn't just a hit TV display, it became a cultural pressure that reshaped crime dramas and left an enduring imprint on audiences global. Running from 1973 to 1978, it ruled the ratings, always rating in the top 20 for its first 3 seasons. Viewers were attracted to its mix of gritty realism and compelling storytelling. At its core, become Lieutenant Theo Kojak, performed via Telly Savalas, a difficult, however deeply compassionate detective who broke far away from the standard cold, no-nonsense crime opponents visible on TV. He wasn't pretty much fixing cases. He cared about sufferers, challenged corruption, and carried a streetwise charm that made him unforgettable. One of the greater sudden admirers of Kojak was Queen Elizabeth II. She wasn't just a casual fan. She was so invested inside the display that Buckingham Palace requested advance copies of latest episodes so she would not ought to anticipate them to air. That level of enthusiasm from a world leader was uncommon, especially for an American crime drama. It wasn't only a passing hobby both. In 1976, while she met Telly Savalas at a nation dinner hosted via U.S.